Welcome to the I Just Want to Talk About This show. That sounds a little awkward. We'll have to workshop that. In today's episode, I'll be regrowing my mustache while reflecting light off my glasses. While those two things are going on, there's something I'd like to rap at you about. I love video game reviews. And no, I'm not talking about companies like IGN with their generic, by the numbers, corporate way of reviewing video games. I'm talking about individuals who express how a game made them feel. Yes, reviews have to discuss what kind of game we're dealing with, what the gameplay is like, whether or not the story is good. But I like reviews that are honest about how a piece of media affected them. Was anything about it exciting? Did it immerse you in its world? Was it so bad it made you angry? Did it make you feel like Batman? I think most of us who regularly go to video game reviews for guidance on a purchase have a favorite reviewer that we go to first. Someone that has a track record of liking the same kind of games we like. For me, that's Ralph, aka SkillUp. Not only do we have a similar taste in games, but he's the only critic I've found where I would seriously consider his reviews to be art. Even if I disagree with his overall assessment of a game, it's hard for me to find any fault in his analysis because he's able to express his opinion so eloquently and poetically. And that leads me to his review of Ghost of Yotei. I have to say, right off the bat, I am not hating on this review. In fact, if you boil this review down to just a sentence, he thought it was a good game, but too similar to Ghost of Tsushima with a worse story. I can't find any fault in that opinion at all. But if you watch this review, he honestly sounds really down on the game, like it was a chore to get through it. And this really stunned me because I've had such an opposite experience with this game so far. Ever since I watched this review, there's something I haven't been able to stop thinking about. Do game reviews even matter, or are they entirely circumstantial? The short answer is no. I don't think so. Not entirely. There are technical elements about a game that are true no matter what's going on in your life or the world. There is some objectivity to the quality of a game. But is the way a game makes us feel entirely circumstantial? I think yes. Yes, we probably all have a proclivity toward a certain genre of games. Some people are really into RPGs with dialogue trees where your choices really matter and affect the outcome of the game. Some people really like survival games where you're released into a world with nothing and have to collect, craft, and build your way into a higher station in life. What I've learned about myself? I love third-person action games. They're my bread and butter. Let me run around the world as some overpowered action hero who can kill anybody he or she comes across. And you'll find a very happy Riley. It was precisely this predisposition that led to me purchasing Ghost of Yotei, knowing that I was in the mood to sink my teeth into a world where I could immerse myself as an all-powerful traveling samurai. But we don't always play our bread and butter games. Sometimes, really good reviews intersect with a certain amount of personal interest, which causes you to buy a game that's a bit risky for you. Take, for example, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. What an awful name. I played the first game because some random YouTube video had a compelling argument for why it was amazing, and I enjoyed my time with it, up until a point. There was some side quest where I needed to take out an enemy bandit camp, and I just couldn't do it. I kept dying. So then, I lost steam on it, stopped playing, and eventually deleted it. With the second game, the reviews were so good, and I thought to myself, maybe I can get into it this time. And boy did I. The first half of that game was incredible. Starting out as a medieval hobo with nothing to your name, clawing your way into some money, some gear, and some respect. Then the second half of the game hits, and you get an entirely new portion of the map to explore with this giant city. Game of the year. I was floored. I had fun with some of the dozens of side quests to be found within Kuttenberg. Eventually I decided to just focus on the main story, but it just kept going and going and going. Every time I thought I was reaching the end, a new thing would happen, pushing back my hopes and dreams of completing the game. I ended up beating the game out of spite, but the joys I had experienced in the first half of the game were far, far away in the rearview mirror. It had become a chore, and it soured my experience. And I totally recognized that my experience was circumstantial. Maybe I did too many side quests and burnt myself out. Maybe a new game had come out and I was trying to complete this game so I could move on to the next. Who knows, I don't remember. Also, minor spoilers, but toward the end of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, you get an opportunity to speak with the ghosts of your dead parents, with some dialogue options. I don't remember what I chose, nothing that seemed bad, but I do remember it caused my parents to tell me that I'm a garbage son, and they effectively disowned me and then disappeared. And I'm not gonna lie, I was pissed. I just completed this long-ass journey, the latter half of which I didn't even want to do, only for my parents to come back from the grave and shit on me. But the people who chose the right dialogue option probably came away from that moment with a more positive experience. To go back to Ghost of Yotei, I'm enjoying this game for several reasons. For one thing, as discussed, it's a bread and butter game for me. For another, I watched and loved the show Blue Eye Samurai, and this game is pretty much a Blue Eye Samurai simulator. So watching that show has really enhanced my experience with this game. And lastly, I just think this game is better than Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima was like the Avengers, except instead of a Chitauri invasion that threatens the fate of the world, there was a Mongol invasion threatening the fate of Japan. Ghost of Yotei is more like Spider-Man, where the threat is just within a neighborhood. It feels more personal, and I feel like I get a greater sense of the wandering samurai hero. Skill Up, on the other hand, did not enjoy Ghost of Yotei, for aforementioned reasons like the story and lack of innovation, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was more going on there. A game reviewer has to play like every AAA game and then some, so maybe this game felt a little too familiar to other games and he was just feeling the burnout. Maybe third-person action open world games aren't his bread and butter. Maybe he didn't watch Blue Eye Samurai. Probably not. I just think, what's the point of this video? I just think it's fascinating that there is so much unsaid in a video game review, and just reviews in general, that affect how a person receives a piece of media. Next time we come across a review that just boggles our mind because our experience was so radically different than the reviewers, let's take a step back and take a breath. We all connect with games differently. We don't have to like the 10 out of 10s that all reviewers seem to love. Reviewers don't have to love the games that we would like to inject directly into our veins. There are unspoken things in every review that affected that person's ability to enjoy, connect, and immerse themselves in the world they were in. Yeah, this video gets a 5 out of 10. We like the editing, but quite frankly, there was too much yapping and a lot of words just to say opinions are subjective. For everything else, keep it locked to I Just Want to Talk About This.